Welcome back to Top Dogs. For millennia, people have been creating ways to pass the time and come together for fun. Whether that way was to compete in friendly competition or a game of wits, traditional tabletop games have been a phenomenon across the globe, and new and creative versions pop up every day. Come with us today as we discuss with fellow nerds about what these tabletop games mean to us on today's episode of the Top Dogs podcast. I'm Stream ArcaDad.
I'm Kolfy Cola.
And I'm Kit Klawson.
So on this episode, I've played a bit with tabletop games, but I've not played a lot with trading card games. I don't have much experience with that, so I think you guys have quite a bit of experience on that end. So Kolfy, why don't you get us started? How familiar are you with trading card games, and how long have you been playing with them?
So for tabletop and trading card games as a whole, they've been a big part of my life. Like not the collective trading card games, at least. Those started back with Pokemon back when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I'm sitting here over 30 now, and I'm still playing different trading card games on the competitive level. But really, like a single deck of cards is kind of what started it for me, and then collecting it, seeing your favorite Pokemon or Digimon back in the day as well, or even now it's like Dragon Ball Z as a card game or One Piece. Like there is a collection that you can find for almost anything now, even like basketball or baseball cards. I have a bunch of friends who collect those, and for me it's just been a way to find another community outside of like the furry fandom. But for just tabletop, it's helped me be more extroverted and come out of my shell a bit more. How about you, Kit? Because I know that you also play a lot of trading card games as well.
Started out with Pokemon when I was a kid also. But the Pokemon card game was difficult for kids, at least when it started out. But all through middle school and high school, it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a big one. And then my friend taught me how to play Magic the Gathering in high school. And so we all played together all through college. And then I took a long break. And recently I've gotten back into playing Magic the Gathering. And it's really fun. It's definitely, I'm not going to say kids can't play it, but it feels like a more mature card game than one of the ones that's based on anime.
It sure feels like it's more of a game that you have to strategize a bit more. There's more afterthought, a bit like chess, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, most card games I feel like are like a lot chess. Or like chess.
If you don't have your strategy worked out before you draw the first card, you're not going to have a good time.
See, I don't have much experience in trading card games. I did collect a few Pokemon's cards here and there, and then as I got older, you guys can probably guess which card I wanted to collect. I think it makes it pretty obvious. And I think I got one. And then after that was it. Now, I saw a lot of people play the card games, but they look like really complicated. So I've always went back to playing board games. So in my family, me, my brother and my sister and my father, we would play, tabletop games a bit more. I was not a big fan of them because my father and my other brother and sister, they always wanted to play the games that were like super long. Example, Risk, Monopoly, very long and tedious games. And I just got fed up with time. And actually, my father was almost like forcing me to play games because they always needed a player. So I always felt like forced to. As I got older, I've never really wanted to play games again until I started playing this game called Zombicide with a friend. And then I started getting back into board games. I was like, you know what? This is actually kind of fun. So I overcame something that was really annoying, something I hated when I was a kid, to becoming something I really enjoy. If the game had like physical features that you can like interact with, like Mousetrap, for example, you got me hooked right off the bat. As soon as there was something interactive like Guess Who and stuff, I really liked it. Which kind of segues into the next question. Kit, how were you like introduced into those tabletop games and the trading card games? What made you really interested in playing them?
So, but like I said, I started out playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's an anime for Yu-Gi-Oh! And how many seasons have they got of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now? Like 7, I think?
Oh, way more than 7.
Oh, God.
They had the original Yu-Gi-Oh! They had high school Yu-Gi-Oh! They had Yu-Gi-Oh! On bikes.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! On bikes? Oh. Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! On motorcycles.
That was a thing?
Yes. Oh, but it kept going on. I think it's still going. But the anime made it look so exciting, and they've got all the different creature cards, and some of them look really cool. And so, being furries, anytime there's an interesting creature, it sucks us in.
Oh, tell me about
So
it. Tell me about it.
So it was pretty easy to get it sucked into that game in middle school or high school, especially when all of my friends also played. So at lunchtime, we'd hurry up and eat our food really quick so we had time to play a couple rounds, or even during gym or after school before the buses came. I think that's what it was. It was just something fun for us to do together.
That's really cool. What about you, Kolfy?
I have to say it's pretty much the same. For me, it was like the second family of mine. The father was a pastor for the local church, but he pretty much treated me as another child, and he had a bunch of big family, and he's the one who introduced us to anime, but he also got us into playing Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, the Digimon card game, and it just kind of kept on going from there, hanging out with them, collecting, playing. And then high school as well, I was big into playing Yu-Gi-Oh competitively, and me and my friends would do the exact same thing. We would hurry up and eat our food and go play a couple of rounds, or hey, we're planning on staying after school for study club, and really just us playing games until the after school bus came to pick us up and drop us off to go home. So there's like a lot of that. And even like college, it was my Magic days, and I had a small group of friends that I'd play Magic with then, and it was all right playing in this new set. And at that time when I was in college, the set called Innistrad came out, and Innistrad was all like werewolves and vampires, and I was like, ooh, this really is something I like, kind of like how the set that Kit and Colton had gotten into for Magic has been Bloomborough, which is all like very Redwall-esque, like little mice and rats and otters is the big theme of that set. And now they just moved on to a new set, which is all horror movie theme. But like, I just want to keep living in that world that Bloomborough gave us, and each card game has this kind of own little world thing that you get a chance to live in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what keeps me drawn and going to keep playing them.
I think that's probably the most enjoyable thing about Magic specifically, is each time they come out with a new set, it's an entirely different world. Each world has its own storyline that you can go and follow on their website. So it has storylines, it has characters that develop and grow through the years. Some of the characters keep coming back. And like you were saying, Bloomborough is heavily inspired by Redwall. Every character is a furry. Colton has Shocker. He has a deck made up of completely otters.
I would get all the werewolf boyfriends in there. Hell yeah.
Well, I think they're going
There's a
back
bunch
to
of werewolves.
Innistrad in a couple of sets. They're going to do a remastered version of Innistrad. So the werewolves are going to be coming back. But Innistrad was very classic monster, werewolf, vampire, zombies, priests. Like when you think of the Frankenstein and Dracula movies, that's what those were. But the set right now with Duskmorn, it's Hollywood horror, but it's like modern Hollywood horror. And so there's a card that is very clearly inspired by the clown from It. There's demons, and even some of the cards have special artwork where it's supposed to look like an old school CRT television screen.
Oh man, I remember the CRT days.
Right?
Pups nowadays don't really know those because they're too old. The 2000 babies don't know about CRTs very much.
No, they're too young. They don't get it.
They never had to adjust some. Yeah, they never had to adjust the antennas.
Oh my God! You touched the rabbit ear antennas. Oh my God! Those are the days. Those are the days. Oh man. I remember being introduced to. So I didn't do a lot of the. Like I said earlier, I haven't done much of the trade guard games. I did have other form of tradable games. I used to play marbles when I was a kid, but I was at like the end of like people playing marbles, so I would collect those. I would also play Beyblades. It was really popular for one winter. We would take like the school lids from the school trash can lids, flip them upside down, and we play Beyblades, and we would actually gamble parts on who would win. And any sort of games that propose you like different accessories, different launchers, tables. Like, I love to accessorize things. I cannot keep something custom, so when you're able to modify your game and add more to it, it always hooked me on. The board games, I've always been fascinated with the more physical ones. Operation was a good one. Mousetrap, Guess Who. All those games where there are physical components on the board that you interact with. That was always the stuff that got me really interested. Sadly, my father and my family were more into long games like Risk, Find Mr. X in New York. But it was still fun. It was a good time nonetheless. But one of my favorite kind of actual board game that I haven't played in a while, it's called Zombicide. Basically, everybody plays against the game itself. So the game has its own AI, and basically you try to fight off hordes of zombies, and you can find equipment to help you. And that is, playing that game was how I started playing board games again after stopping for so many years, because I was just fed up and I was forced into playing them. I was consenting, but I didn't really feel like it. But I was like, okay, fine, whatever, I'll just do it. You know, that kind of being forced into it. I wouldn't cry or make a fuss about it. It's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that was kind of what I was into. And now I started loving board games again, and it's fun. It's fun to share.
So I think a game that you might enjoy. Well, let's say like a game to go with that Zombicide that you might enjoy. You should check out Pandemic and Pandemic Legacy.
Yes.
It's a game that's super aggressively mean, but Pandemic Legacy, you play through a full year and your progression sticks through. So if a city gets destroyed, it's destroyed for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you physically alter the game board depending on how you play the game.
I think I played that game once or twice, and I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit faster than playing Zombicide, so definitely if you want a quick game that's like 45 minutes to an hour, that's great. Because Zombicide, you could play for 3-4 hours, and there were a bunch of expansion packs with different creatures, different ways to attack them, and there were physical pieces. And at that one point, when we were getting close to the end, the board was just filled with zombies. It was insane.
No, I thought it was funny you brought up Beyblades, because right before you joined us, we were actually talking about Beyblades.
I love that show, man. It was so good. I had the professor, you know, with the big glasses with the top that would bounce with the spring? I had that one.
Oh, okay.
And I had the all-star one, the one from the all-star team. It had 2 attack pieces, so one on top, one at the bottom. If you would hit the bottom hard enough, it would spring up and start bouncing around. It was like, these were my 2 favorite, the bouncy ones. I thought they were super cool. They were unique and different. I love those. So yeah, which kind of segues into the next one. What is the most enjoyable thing that you remember by playing these types of games? Because like, you know, you talked about like the trading card games or board game. What was your favorite? Do you prefer more trading card games, or you prefer the tabletop ones?
I liked the trading card games better. I feel like for the settings in which I was playing the games, we didn't have the ability to bring a lot of things with us. We could bring a pack of cards, but we couldn't bring a whole board with us.
It is very compact. I got to give it to you. It's very convenient.
Yeah,
unless
so we could literally,
Yu-Gi-Oh! And you want that big board thing on your arm that you have, like, unfolds.
No.
I thought that was cool.
I never had one of those. One of my classmates did, and he brought it to school, and he got picked on.
It is very nerdy. It is super nerdy.
I may or may not have had one.
Oh no. Whoops.
Yes, it is called a dual disc.
It's okay. A dual disc.
But when the day comes that it actually projects like it does in the show, then I'll look into it.
The funny thing is that it looks cool in the show, but when you see it in real, you're like, oh god, oh my god, this is so goofy.
No, that's exactly it. It looks so cool. You're like, oh man, I want one of those. And you get it. It's just a piece of spring-loaded plastic. And you're like,
spring-loaded plastic.
But even as like a 14-year-old kid, that was like one of the coolest things ever. You put it on your arm, it's like, and then you can put your deck in.
Yeah, it
track your life total with a little built-in calculator.
It's even cooler. Yeah, it's even cooler when your 6-year-old nephew is smaller than the whole length of the thing, though. That's funny. Oh man, no shaming by the way. If you guys have one of those and you enjoy use it, hey, go for it. We don't judge. Just have fun with it. That's all that matters. Nobody cares what other people think. Enjoy life. Make it fun. What about you, Kolfy?
I like both quite a lot. I have a bunch of fond memories from playing both trading card games, but also playing tabletop games. I've had some crazy long games of Risk, and I know how long Risk can be. Way back in my elementary, middle school, me and my best friend and his brother, we had bought what 2 or 3 full Lord of the Rings sets, and we built our own custom whole entire Middle Earth, not just like what's been depicted in the movies, but the entire world of Middle Earth from the actual books. We had each location spot on for Risk. The game took a full weekend to play, and we spent 4 to 6 hours, and then took like an hour break, another 4 to 6 hours, kind of like you would do with a Dungeons and Dragons session, but it was just little figurines, a lot of dice. I'm attacking over here, I'm attacking over there, and we even had like the orcs played by the NPCs, just so that it's like, oh, we have the big bad that we're all kind of going against, but also fighting against each other. That's like I have a bunch of fond memories for both. Oh, it was such a commitment.
I remember my friend when he would show up playing Zombicide. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna bring my expansion pack next time we come over. I'm not even kidding. He came home. He was holding the bottom box. He had boxes all the way here with expansion packs. I'm like, I think you're a little bit overdoing it.
Oh my god,
that's a bit clumsy. But I got it. Me personally, I don't own any board games actually. I don't think I do. I think I do. I don't even remember what they are, but they're in the basement. But usually, like the card games, I will have like, I would have like Cards Against Humanity. I have this game where you have to speak to your teammate with like that cheek spreader that you use at the dentist. I don't know what that's called, mouth out or something like that. That's stupid. So
it sounds so funny though.
I was getting really good at it, at speaking with the thing in my mouth. I was getting good at it. It's difficult, but like the B's, the L's, and the M's, you have to pronounce it in a different way. So it makes you think on a different way to express yourself. You have to change how you produce your syllables. So you have to play with phonetics a little bit. So it's a fun challenge when you start getting really into it. As silly as it looks, it can be very technical concerning pronunciation and language. So it can teach you a few things. If you're a ventriloquist, then that game will be really easy for you because you just have to, it's easy.
Oh yeah.
So it's a fun, silly game, but after 30, 45 minutes, you're kind of done. I've never really traveled a lot with games and card games, but I've always been to places that people had their games already. But the one the card game that I love to carry around is, what is it called? Werewolf.
Yes, that is a great game to have with you at all hands.
Because I feel like the game is mostly into the narrator, the person that like tells the story, like, okay, the village falls asleep, the witch wakes up, what happens? And there's a bunch of things that happen in the background that is just so funny. It's a small thing. Every time I go camping with a group of friends, it's the perfect game to play around a campfire. It's so much fun to do. But yeah, we were talking about like how things were kind of compact. Imagine people that are playing like Warhammer 40K.
There's people that play that every week at my card shop.
Oh my god, it takes so much space though.
We're talking about how long some of these games last. We talked about Colton also. Colton has a weekly D&D session that he plays in online, and they meet for 2 to 3 hours every week. He just said a couple days ago that they've been going for 3 years now on this same campaign.
Has it really been that long?
Damn.
Like, I think I know which game group you're talking about. Has it really taken them that long at this point?
Apparently so.
Jeez. But see, campaigns like that can be fun though, because you get like, especially when it's with friends and you're able to put on a different persona in that sense. Because I wanted to go back to the talk of Werewolf, because I have great memories of playing that at conventions, to where the group of people that I would play in would do the same thing with D&D, where you would play a different character than you normally would, and it makes the game that much enjoyable, not just for yourself but for everyone around you too.
True. I would like to try Legend of Ventress. You guys, you probably seen their TikTok videos. They're playing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
are now a proud nudist. it's like it's so silly. It looks really fun. I've never played D&D, but it looks definitely fun. My husband has started playing recently, and he plays a more modern version of like a D&D universe. And they still got like paladins and stuff, but it just sets up in a kind of present / futuristic world, like kind of in between. So I thought that would be really cool. I'm not a big fan of like the medieval time and fantasy times. It's never really been my thing. I've played a few video games that are like in medieval eras and fantasy eras, and I've never really caught on. But if they can make D&D games that are more modern or futuristic, I'm definitely interested because the pure creativity looks really cool. Oh, I'm sure they do. I just don't know about them, and I don't know anybody who plays, so that's the problem.
Like the other joy of like Dungeons and Dragons is you can set it into whatever setting you want. So if you wanted to do like a cyberpunk setting, you could do a cyberpunk setting, as well as there's another, I think it's also by Wizards of the Coast, called no, I just had a brain fart of what it's called now. Jesus.
Yeah, we get that.
World of Darkness. World of Darkness. World of Darkness is the other more mythical, like werewolves, vampires, but they also have like a futuristic side that they delve into as well.
Mm-hmm. I've been playing a visual novel called Remember the Flowers, and if you guys haven't heard about this visual novel, it's amazing and it's beautiful. But they kind of happen in like a futuristic era where like there were 7 stars that fell onto the earth and decimated a big popularity, a big
population.
Yeah, it decimated a big part of the population. Wow, I had a massive brain fart right there. And they kind of adapted and evolved, and they have pods where they can teleport from one area to another. So some people, they live like in the top of a mountain, some they live in the Amazon like forest and stuff like that. And they have like different type of guns. They have energy weapons or like physical weapons. And I thought it would be really cool. I was like, dude, I would love to play like a D&D game in an environment like this because I think it's so cool, right? I was a big fan of playing like Mass Effect, playing Dead Space. All these games that are futuristic is definitely something I would love to play, like a D&D game in these types of environment. I would definitely be hooked.
So that kind of segues over to something that I want to bring up then. So you're talking about playing a bunch of video games, and Kit was talking about Colton doing D&D over the internet. With that, do either of you guys have a preference of either playing games virtually on or via like video games, or playing like Tabletop Simulator, or having that kind of more homey feeling of playing in person? Kit?
I have strong feelings about this. I have tried to play Magic the Gathering Arena online many times, especially during that period where all my friends were away and they were all at college or wherever, and so my player group was gone. I was like, oh, I'll play online. It's not the same. It's not the same because you don't get to interact with the other person. It loses the personality behind the game, and it strips it down to just the cards. But that's not what the game's about to me. The Magic the Gathering Arena online, yeah, no, that's exactly
There's no soul
it.
in the game.
That's exactly it. The Magic the Gathering online arena, if you enjoy it, have fun. By all means, I'm not saying it's bad. I hate it. I like to have the cards in my hand and looking at who I'm playing against across the table from me. Play and talking and laughing while we play, and that's where it's at to me. Looking at a computer screen, it's just boring. It's not fun.
When you got that sick combo and you want to see how he reacts to it.
Yes.
That's all where the pleasure comes from. It's true. It's definitely true. I agree with you. And you're like, oh, you mother. It's like the reaction and like how much of a D word you want to be towards the other person. It's just like fantastic. I think it's part of the experience, right? I think that's the one thing that's fun about tabletop games and card games is that you get to interact. You're playing a game, but you're also interacting with somebody. You're building a friendship. You're maintaining a bond with that person. It can be a love and hate relationship at the same same time because you can like really hit low with the person. But I think it's the thing I've realized why I enjoyed tabletop games the most. It's to see the other people react and the interaction you get with them. That's what makes them so special to me compared to video games.
But I think you'll both agree with me when I say this too, though. Online gaming now does not compare to couch co-op games of our days.
Oh yeah, split screen on our tiny CRTs.
It was so much more fun with like we'd have 6 people piled up in my small bedroom trading off controllers. All right, you lost, you're out. Trade off. We would all laughing at each other with chips and sodas, and now you just sit in a room by yourself with a headset on. It's not the same. It's not better.
No.
I would say like playing the games on the medium of VRChat is a little bit better than playing on like TCG Arena, because we have games like Cards Against Humanity that we're able to still express each other like with the face tracking and just hearing each other. Because I think COVID had that nice median, because during COVID we couldn't go out to the card shops or see our friends as easily and as much as we wanted to. But I know that there's still online events. Just this past weekend for one of the card games that I played, they just had an online regionals where everyone was on their webcam, so you couldn't cheat and they're not going off of a simulation of what it is. So you're still having that physical aspect. You kind of see your opponent on the screen there too. To kind of like use the internet to bridge that gap, I think is a nice way. But yeah, it still doesn't have that same feeling of sitting down, seeing your friend that you haven't seen for a week because you've been working all week, and it's like, hey, how's it going? As you're shuffling your deck, you're just shooting the this. I can't swear. I'm so used to like, like tossing the tea. Like, how's the day going? How's the weather? As you're shuffling the cards, you don't really get that online as much.
No. It's like I like playing video games. They're great, but I will play campaign games. But that is more to immerse myself. If I want to socialize with people, then I don't really play multiplayer video games like Call of Duty or Halo. I don't do that, and it can be really toxic as well. So, like, if I want to socialize with people, I play tabletop games. Now, the thing is, traveling, it's not always convenient. So this is why I feel like VR is a perfect middle ground. Mostly during COVID, which you brought up. It's great because we can all hang out together and just play Cards Against Humanity. We can go play putt-putt. And like you can I swear to God, like the worst French Quebecer comes out of me from that goddamn putt-putt game. It's insane. Like everybody's native language just comes out. Like I had German, British, Mexican, Quebecer. It's like American. Everything just came out, and it's funny. It's hilarious, but it doesn't replace being around a table with your friends and family and be like, nah, see, I got you, and just like fist bump. It's exciting. It's fun. Like they both have their purpose in my opinion, and it depends on how you feel. Like if you just want to distract yourself but you don't really have time to travel and you don't necessarily want to wait for people, then playing a good solo campaign like Uncharted or Tomb Raider or Dead Space or all these other games, then they're great for that. But if you really want to build a relationship while having fun, then tabletop games and trading card games are absolutely fantastic for that. Nothing beats it. VR can help, but it will never 100% replace physical presence.
Yeah.
I kind of answered question number 4 in that one.
Yeah, no, like that's kind of like what the whole purpose for that one was. I'm looking here. So along with that, because we're here, big furry animals on VR.
We need to do the half part.
Oh,
we need to do the ad.
The half part. Oh, good time.
My God.
Because we're here, big furry animals. We should do the ad part. Stay in the loop with the Top Dogs podcast by subscribing to our YouTube channel and ringing that notification bell. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform and hit that follow button to get notified about every new episode. Show your love by leaving a quick rating. Connect with our community on Discord and Telegram. You'll find all the links in our link tree down below. Thank you for your support.
Hey, Top Dogs fan, want to snag some awesome perks while supporting us? Check out our server subscription on Discord or Patreon. Become a podcast supporter and get access to exclusive behind-the-scene footage, join supporter meetups, and use custom hand-drawn emojis featuring the Top Dogs team and chat with the podcast team and fellow fans. Plus, don't miss the new After Dog show for mature audiences only. at just $2.99 a month. Craving more? Upgrade to the Podcast Supporter Plus for $5.99 a month and enjoy episode voting, suggest podcast episode, and join our live audience without needing a VR chat account or VR headset as we stream live the audience on our Discord server. Plus, get exclusive sneak peeks of upcoming ideas, merch drops, and much more in the future. There's no obligation to join the subscription, but your support generally makes a huge difference for our team. And for those who've already subscribed, a heartfelt thank you for the bottom of our hearts. Shout out to Justin the Firewolf Dog for being almost in every episode in the back. Thank you, man. We much appreciate it. So now for the question of the week. What is your favorite tabletop game, trade card games to play with, and why? So Justin the Firewolf, he said, my favorite is Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there's more playability than Pokemon is, and I love anime, which is a solid answer. Phoenix says, I love to play an old one by the name of Bakugan. It's always been a favorite of mine since shooting little ball figures into cards, and then the gameplay along with the anime, it's always been a favorite. Hence what I was saying, I love like games that has physical components to it, so Bakugan was something I got curious about. Mumu says, I absolutely adore playing MTG, Magic the Gathering. It's a lot of fun despite being a learning curve when it comes to actually learning the game itself, but they have a lot of different ways to build your decks and a lot of cool art in their cards by awesome artists. It definitely looks like a hard game to enter, but it looks really fun once you know how to play it. What do you guys?
It's very
have you guys played
structured.
MTG?
Oh yeah, Magic the Gathering. That's my primary game that I play. It's very structured, and coming into it, it looks like a lot to learn. But at the bare bones level, every card has a cost, and you have your set of resources. Oh, where did my hands go? Oh. Every card has a cost, and you've got your set of resources. And as long as you have the correct amount of resources of the correct type to play that card, then you can play it. It tells you exactly on the card what it's going to do, what you can target, how much damage or life you're going to deal or gain, or everything is laid out on the card. So once you learn the basic terminology and you understand that you've got to have enough resources to play the cards in your hand, everything else is easy. The changes that they make through the years are not game breaking. They don't really add wide sweeping mechanics like Yu-Gi-Oh! Has throughout the years with their different fusion, synchro, exceed, link. I don't even know what they're on now. Different summoning methods. Magic the Gathering it's the same year after year. They might add new abilities for certain cards, but those are always very clearly defined on the card itself. So it has a slight learning curve, but once you get around that curve, it's easy. It's not complicated at all.
I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of reading at the beginning when you're playing MTG because everything is written on the card basically. There's just the order of operation and strategy that takes a little bit of practice. But I mean, we got the internet on our fingertips, so probably we can look that up. And friends that can always help, of course.
Yeah. Of course.
I also play a lot of Magic, but I play on a competitive level because Magic the Gathering has a lot of different formats you can play in. And for the competitive level, there's a whole different subset. I prefer playing draft format, and they have competitive draft. So where you sit down at a table with 6 to 8 people, you each have 3 packs, you open it up, you pick one card out of it that you want and pass it to the left or pass it to the right. And then everyone else does the same for each 3-pack, and you build a deck out of what cards you have there. So it's a little bit more game knowledge of what is on the table because you know what everyone else has available to them potentially. But also, like, you're building your deck at the same time everyone else is, so it's not like someone can come in with the best deck and all the money cards, and not everyone has the funds to go hard on a card game. So having that draft format where everyone is on that base level of you all have nothing and you're given 3 packs, build what you get.
They're not gonna roll up with a $500 card deck.
I mean, you could pull a $500 card, but anyone
deck.
can.
And my draft is, they all same starting point.
That's the one thing I've always been curious. Like, okay, so you build your deck. So if you have money, you could build like an ultimate invincible deck, and that wouldn't be fair.
Potentially,
They call that format modern.
How do you balance this game? That's the thing. If you can build
With other
everything on your
broken
own,
decks.
I'm being
With broken
serious though. And,
A broken deck can beat a broken
an
deck.
actual format. It's an actual format called Modern, and it includes all cards from the past 25 years are legal for this format. And I have seen cards or decks where the person they play like one resource and one other thing on their first turn, and they use that, and then they end up discarding their whole deck. And they play one card that says your opponent loses life equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. Okay.
Oh, that sucks.
But
Oh my
it's
God.
turn one. Like what?
Yeah, all on turn 1.
Oh, that's scummy. That's super scummy. Oh my God. Oh man.
Yeah, I like that aspect because it's little mental puzzles. Even right now in my head, because I have a One Piece tournament I'm planning on doing this weekend, I'm trying to like mentally figure the ratios of one deck versus the other in matchups and what decks could use X cards to make things better. That whole mental chess of like not just 3 and 4D, but like 12D chess that I'm playing is what really draws me to keep playing all the different card games. Like as long as it's got a nice theme I can really vibe with, or a nice like anime that backs it up, like Magic the Gathering with Bloomborough, the theme is what drew me back into playing it and to still keep playing it. It's the theme, but also just that mental hoops to jump through keeps me, as well as the small gambling addiction of just opening up the physical packs and do I hit a very expensive card or not. I have a story just this last weekend. I hit a card that I'm expecting to be over $100 that I'm like, I just made money.
What about you, Kit? What is one feature or something you find really great about these games that make you coming back?
Opening the cards is definitely always fun because it's exciting whenever you open something that you've been hoping to get, because it's all random. It's like, okay, it's like the real life gotcha games that everyone has on their phone.
I've seen you playing Xena Zero.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
The difference is, though, you are paying for something physical. You're not paying for something that you can't touch. So that's the benefit, at least, is you actually have it in your possession.
Absolutely.
You know, the
Physical
strategies,
thing that we
though-
keep getting.
What?
Cardboard crack.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
Opening up packs, it's just like getting cardboard crack. Once you open up one
cardboard
pack, yeah, you
It's like,
can't stop.
I was like, what is he talking about? That's funny. Oh man.
It is a lot of fun though, especially when you spend months over time perfecting your deck. I had a deck made up of goblins. Goblins multiply really quickly, so I'd start with one goblin, and my next turn I'd have 4. And then the next turn there'd be like 10 goblins. And goblins are always weak. They're like 1 attack and 1 health, so they go down pretty quickly. But then I had this other goblin, and he said, all goblins, if they attack and they get blocked, you can sacrifice him, and it deals 4 damage to the creature that blocked him. Okay, so now I have suicide bombers.
Oh my god. Oh wow.
So either you let me hit you, or I'm gonna blow him up, and he's gonna take out your guys too. And better than that, I had another card that said, when any creature dies, the target player loses 1 life. So now I don't care if my goblins blow up or not. You're gonna take that hit either way.
Oh man. Oh. It sounds funny. Oh, the face in your opponent. He must be like so mad at you when you pull that out.
Oh man.
When you realize the tactic behind it. So just pulling out a goblin, and then you realize like how much this is becoming a problem and how much damage you're about to take because he took you for granted. It's the end. It's the beginning of the end. There must be some great satisfaction out of that.
Oh man, yeah. Because once that other card hits the field, Okay, so you can block my goblins, you can kill them, but if you kill them, they still die, and then you still take the damage. Or if you block them and they die, you take the damage. If I sacrifice them and they die, you take damage. If your creature dies, you take the damage.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult deck to stop once it got rolling.
What is your most memorable memories from a gaming session? Because you just explained something, and it feels like there's got to be something to it. What is your best memory from playing a card game or a tabletop game?
So there've been a few times, but while I was playing that particular goblin deck, the strategy was not working against this person because their deck was revolved around healing themselves. So I could not deal enough damage to them one hit at a time to outpace how much they were healing. The only card in this deck that was not a goblin was a dragon. Dragons eat goblins. And this particular dragon said, when you play him, sacrifice any number of goblins, and he deals 2 times that number to the opponent in damage. So I would play the dragon, sacrifice 5 goblins. Okay, well now they take 5 damage because 5 goblins died. But the dragon says, since I sacrificed 5 goblins, he's going to deal 2 times 5 damage to the opponent for another 10 damage. So in a single turn, I dealt 15 damage and won the game.
Wow.
I know you don't know this, but in Magic, your starting life total is 20. So in a single turn,
I was going to segue to that. What's your life points?
You start out with 20. So in a single turn, I was able to deal 15 damage without attacking. And then the dragon, he still could attack that turn. So yeah, no, that was game. That was like the trump card. All right, nothing else works. This will. Boom.
What about you, Kolfy?
So like obviously that Risk experience was a lot of fun, but another more wholesome experience that sticks with me. I used to have a really bad stutter growing up, to where like bullied and everything, and I went to do speech therapy in elementary school. And one of the things that was part of speech therapy was playing Guess Who with one of my friends. And we would play other board games, but stuff to help us with speaking, because I would stutter and she had a lisp and she would slur her S's quite a bit. So we'd specifically play games that helped us with repetition and helping us with our own personal issues. And just seeing the use of games like that and having a positive outlook and input to people and seeing what they can do. Because it can be fun being competitive, but when you look outside of what all of those games can do, like whether it be building a community or helping a young kid with their speech impediment over time, the joy and wonders that games can do kind of is my most cherished memory.
That's fantastic. I think it's a great tool. I think that's super clever. My best memory was playing. So we used to have this every Wednesdays at a restaurant. We would play board games with a bunch of friends. And my husband was really into politics back then. And my husband plays Risk, Civilization 1, 2, 3. He plays all of those strategy games, right? And he is a bouse at playing Risk. And he was playing with another fellow politician that actually his face was on the sides during the elections in our area. And he loved playing Risk as well. And I consider myself decent. I've never been the best player, but I'm not the worst. And we actually played one night, and I actually managed to win the game. And I was so proud of myself because I've never won a group game in my whole entire life. And I beated 2 politicians at their own game. I was like, hell yeah. It's like, my husband was really proud. I'm like, yeah, I got this. Woo! So it was just great. I loved it. I was so proud. Oh my god, because the amount of backstabbing my husband or my other friends, that's the thing with Risk. Like, you can do like, okay, let's team up together against this person, and when he's weak enough, we'll okay, we'll fight it off. My husband, right? We would play Halo. He would throw grenades on my feet while we're playing campaign. I was wondering what while it was blowing up, and I would look at his screen because we're playing split screen. Like, you mother effer! You're like, he was like, I thought him to throw a grenade on my foot. Like, he plays dirty. He plays really freaking dirty. So I was like, I'm surprised I actually won that game. I don't know if he gave me a chance or not, but it doesn't matter. He was like, good job, stream. You did well. To give you a pat on the shoulder. I felt so good of myself. I didn't want to be a bad winner at the same time, but I was like, guys, I've never won a game ever. Like, can I just have this for a second? They're like, yeah, you're fine. Have a beer. So it's great. Oh, yeah. So I'm kind of curious. You guys have been playing trade games for a while. Have you ever played like in a competition, like anything remotely professional? I know I haven't, and I've never done anything professional. But like Kolfy, you were like said you played more.
I've done a lot. I'm like, I play competitive both for Magic and One Piece. To where again, this coming weekend, I'm going to be driving 2 hours to Wisconsin to go play One Piece after I figure out which deck I'm playing, basically. But playing competitive has been a big part of my life. And even if you're just playing for fun, going to the competitive scene, it's like going to a furry convention almost. Because you get to see people from all over. Sometimes there's international people that come to these events, and even if it's just regional, well, if you do good, you can go to nationals and then to eventually worlds. And with those things, like Pokemon Worlds is usually held in Japan almost every single year. And I know people that go there to compete in worlds, and hearing the stories that they come back with not only drives me to want to compete more, but also it's like, oh my god, I'm excited for them to do these great things too.
But like, when it's in a more professional settings, do you think it's like just as fun playing as with your friends? Like, do people take on a more straight attitude, more poker face?
Oh, most definitely. Like, there's been some times where if I'm going there for not super competitive, and I can tell some people are super competitive, I let them know. I'll be like, hey, I'm just vibing, because there's been times where people are like, right away, judge, and they're like, bro, I'm just here to play this game. Calm down. Like, you're 0-2. Like, you lose one more, you're out as well. Calm down. It's just a game. But people do go into these competitive events because there is a lot of money on the line for a lot of these events. So it is common to see people going in there with that poker face mindset. And even with, like, I would even consider playing poker a tabletop game, because it is. And that's something I do want to go do at some point, because I do play in charity poker events at furry conventions, which is one of my biggest places. I love playing tabletop and trading card games in general. Playing the poker tournament at the conventions is something else that people do get too serious on, but for good cause too. Like, when there's money on the line or like big prizes, yeah, you're gonna get sweats.
What about you, Kit? Have you been playing a competitive way?
Not really. I've been to a couple of the pre-release tournaments for Magic the Gathering. Specifically at Duskmorn, I went 2-1 in a 3-round tournament. That's pretty good for me. I won 2 games, I lost 1, and I had fun. But the prize was you won an extra booster pack per win. So it wasn't like there was any big money involved or anything. It was a friendly level tournament, not so much competitive level. I think I would have too much anxiety to play at the competitive level. I like the casual, friendly environment more.
I feel like being competitive would take away from, the energy and the good time. It would become too serious, and I feel, to me, it would not be as fun. It would be, because I don't like competition. I don't play Call of Duty. I don't play Halo. It's all these games and stuff. It's too competitive. And like, people say, oh, stream, you're rage quitting. Yes, because I'm playing a video game because I'm trying to relax, and right now you're just pissing me off.
Yeah.
And I'm not having a good time. So I'm just going to remove myself from the situation and play something more fun. So I would always personally keep it to like playing with friends and family, and the backstabbing is definitely it can be fun but really annoying. But I mean, if you're able to take criticism and you're able to laugh it off, it makes for great memories and great souvenirs.
Yeah.
Like the grenades for my husband. I will always remember that. God, I was mad at him at first, but now I look back at it like, oh God. It's funny. All right. So was there anything you guys wanted to talk about?
We missed one. So how has being a furry and card games, tabletop games, how have they crossed paths?
Oh yeah, we
I
did.
say I can start with that one if you want. It's like I mentioned earlier. I play at the charity poker events. I also will regularly go to the tabletop room. There, like for other games, like I wasn't this year at FWA, but the year prior, I didn't know how to play mahjong at all. But there is a small community of furs that know how to play mahjong, and I went down there because they're having a little tournament, and they were like, "We have this table for people who don't know how to play. We will teach you." And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" I'm always up to learning new games, especially if it's a different culture. But just again, sharing that culture, not just the furry aspect, but in that furry setting, it was like I already had that comfort level of like-minded people around me with another like-minded median of a game in between us. But like I always like Red Dragon Inn is one of the best con games to play outside of Cards Against Humanity, because it is like Russian roulette, gambling, like all fun and games, just sitting around like you're sitting around at a bar with friends.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that?
What?
Jed is like whisper barking in his sleep. We're like,
Oh,
it was really cute. Oh yeah, he's sweet. Sorry, I interrupted.
But how about for
See,
your stream?
I've seen a lot of like furries go to tabletop games, and I gotta say, like Zombicide, this is really the moment I started playing board game again. That I opened my mind, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try, and it was a furry friend. So that it does have a link, but the way I really started appreciating board games is when I was playing with, you know, my normie friends and political friends and restaurant friends. I see people play tabletop games in furry convention. I think it's fine, but me like going to a fur con, I don't go to play video games. I don't play to go tabletop games. I go to meet people, to see as many people as possible, hang out with my friends and do stuff, go for dinner. So I'd rather stay in the big room, and then after that, it's the room parties afterwards. So that's just me personally. I know with like being on TikTok and having like my business and stuff, I do want to connect with my community as much as possible. I want to make myself available when I'm without burning myself out. Yeah, of course. I was gonna say that in French actually. Bien sûr. Of course, but yeah, I've seen it happen. It looks fun, but I was never really drawn to it. But definitely, I would say it's a furry that got me back into playing tabletop games after I got really fed up by playing the board games with my family. Again, guys, don't think that it's a trauma or anything. It's fine. I'm making it worse. It's just language barrier. It's kind of hard to explain for me, so I'm just using crude words. But it wasn't that bad. So yeah, it was not that bad. So yeah. It's great. I think it's fun because there's so much diversity in this community, and it's absolutely fantastic. And we like to help each other out, so it's really cool. Like you said, you know how to play mahjong, and there were people that could teach you. So I know if I would show up like during a like MTG game, I'm sure somebody could teach me the basics in a few minutes, and I could learn to play the card game, and then I would make myself a new friend circle of people that play locally. So there's definitely like open opportunities to make more friends. If you're more of an introverted person, I think board game rooms and video games room are absolutely fantastic for furry cons. I think they're great.
oh yeah.
So yeah.
Magic the Gathering specifically. I mean, everyone knows Pokemon, obviously, and probably 3/4 of all 1,000 Pokemon are some form of furry animal at this point. But Magic the Gathering, whether they realize it or not, they do a lot of fan service. I'm thinking of one character specifically. He has streams build, just needs a palette swap for the color.
Hugs.
A Johnny Goldmane.
Oh, a Johnny too. I say Hugs is also a Hugs the Badger. Hugs from Bloomberg.
Oh yeah. No, a Johnny Goldmane is this really just muscular white lion.
Hello. it's like...
Yeah. Yeah.
With the massive...
Yeah, he is absolutely a thirst trap. I'll
So
send
is
you a
Foxy
picture
Jace.
when we're done. I'll
Yes,
send you
please,
a
I'd like
picture.
Foxy
to-
Jace is
I'm
also
really
a thirst
curious.
trap.
Yes, Bloomborough, they had furry versions of some existing characters. And so this one he's talking about, Jace, he's an illusion mage, but he's normally human. But in the land of Bloomborough, where everything is an animal, he's a fox.
Aw.
I want him so bad. But that card is $200, and I don't have $200 for cards.
It's kind of crazy for a piece of cardboard, a printed cardboard, how much money some things are worth. It's crazy.
Cardboard crack.
Yeah, cardboard crap. It is. All right. Well, I think we're starting to get late now. Was there anything you guys wanted to cover? Yeah, no, something else you wanted to add?
The only thing I want to add is play more board games, meet more friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't be
Make new
afraid to
friends.
learn a new game.
Because it could become cardboard crack. Just saying.
Oh, God.
It could be your next addiction.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a whole community that goes
Yeah.
with it. So you're making new friends. So it's great. And
Right.
you never know. Maybe you'll find the love of your life if you're single. Never know. Hello.
Actually, yeah, you're not wrong.
I'll say this. You don't find love. Love finds you. But in order for love to find you, you got to put yourself out there. And finding a group of friends to play tabletop games and trading card games is a great way to meet people that have similar passions than you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. I hope you had a wonderful time listening to this episode. We sure have. I think I'm pretty confident that I'm sure we all had a blast talking about it because this was really fun. I wasn't expecting much to. I didn't expect to have this much fun talking about it because I don't have a lot of experience with, trading card games. But this was great. So yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And next time you get invited to play some board games or trading card games, go for it. Try it. I'm sure you have a good time. So good night, everybody. Take care. Have fun.
Bye.
Make life fun. Woo. Bye.